everybody, it's Cami again. As promised, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all the whole story of our Christmas party, or really our Christmas day, and how it went. I'm talking about for at school. So it was on Friday. It was our last day before winter break. When the students came in the morning, I had a fire going on the projector, so it looked like a fire would be at your home, and so it looked all comfy, cozy, and everything. And I had the kids come in, and I said that we were going to start our day with Daily 5. Daily 5 is just where we read, write, and read to each other, that type of stuff. So we started our day with that, and so everybody found a cozy spot in the room, and that's what we did for the morning until about 9 o'clock, whenever our assistant principal and also our principal joined her as well. I think they were both very excited about it. So they come knocking at our door, and of course I was expecting them, but the kids had no idea. So they were still scattered all around the room, not really knowing any different. They just figured that they were coming to give me something. So they opened up the door and they said, "Miss Shanahan, we have a special delivery. It says it's from the North Pole." And I was like, "From the North Pole?" And I was like, "Let me see." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, it feels so cold." And then all the kids, of course, at this time were starting to come to the door, and they were starting to come up. And I was like, "Okay, wait a second. Everybody get behind the table." So we have this one table that's sort of at the front of our room. And I was like, so I told everybody to get behind it. And I put the box on the table, and I said, "It says, from St. Nicholas, North Pole, to Miss Shanahan's 4th grade class," and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, let's see what it is. So I opened it up, and like you could feel the coldness because we'd put it in the freezer for 2 nights. So you could feel the coldness inside of it. And I was like, "Oh, guys, feel it. It feels cold. It actually feels cold." And at this time, they were like starting to like really freak out. Like they were jumping up and down and squealing, just pure excitement. So I opened up the box, and out pops one of the letters, the first letter. I read it to the kids, and it was telling them, how they're going to have a series of challenges throughout the day. And I mean, you could just see them getting so excited. And my admin stayed for that part too, for me reading the letter and all that kind of stuff to the kids. And they were just jumping up and down, and they were worried about everything else that was in the box. And so I tried to explain everything to them through the letter. And after we read the letter, we got started right away on our first thing, which was to write compliments to each other. So the first thing said that we need to spread kindness within our own classroom by writing compliments to each other, and we had until 9:55 to do it. So we had to send our package back by 9:55. So I start passing out the little the little sheets of paper for them to write the compliments on all throughout, to each kid. And then I started coming around giving them their little elf hats, because it had their little elf hats in there too. So I was going around stapling their elf hats and putting them on their head. And I mean, they were really they just couldn't believe it. They were, "Who made the hats?" And I was like, "It says that they're elf made," and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, they were really getting into it. So they actually got done with the compliment writing fairly quickly. We got done at probably 9:30. And so I sent my 2 kiddos up to the front office to turn in the box. And I said, "Go tell Miss Palmer that we need to get this mailed out right away, because we have to do it by 9:55. And they're like, "Okay." So they go and they do that. Well, they come back to my room, and they're like, "Miss Palmer isn't there." And I'm like, "She's not there?" And they're like, "Yeah, Miss J said that she's not going to be back for like another hour." And I was like, "Oh goodness." I was like, "Well, that's going to be past the 9:55 deadline. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, go see if Miss J can send it for us." And I said, "Because did you ask Miss J if she could send it?" And they said no. So they go back and they ask Miss J. So this was like one of the little bloopers of the day, like where things didn't go exactly as planned. Because me and Miss Palmer she'd like rehearsed what she was going to say and everything with them. So I was really surprised that she had found something else to do at that time because, anyway. So they went back to Miss J, and Miss J did know what to do. So she got the box, she took it from them, and she told them that this was there for them. And they came back to the room with that giant stocking full of balloons. So when my kids come through the room with a giant stocking full of balloons, my kids didn't really realize at first that it was full of balloons, and they just started bouncing off the walls, screaming, thinking it was full of gifts for them or something. I don't know exactly what. And I had other kids like saying, guys, it's balloons, calm down. That's what some of the kids were saying, but others were just freaking out. And so I told them, I said, guys, it said that we had challenges before there was any prize. So that means we have to do a bunch of things before there's any prize. And I also quoted the letter too because it said that it had the prize would be at our Christmas party. I said, it's not time for our Christmas party yet. So this is just another challenge. So anyway, they actually really loved that challenge. That was the math challenge where they had the balloons, and I mean, they worked in their teams really well. There was a few that had to like come back up multiple times before they got their answer correct, but a lot of them did it pretty well. That one we needed to have done by at least 10:30, and we got it done by about 10:15 maybe. So I sort of had a little bit of dead time. So what we did was I decided that we would watch. And I played it off too. I was like, well, while we're waiting for our next challenge, we'll just go ahead and watch, do something that I had planned to do originally, and that was to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and that we were going to write about our favorite part and draw a picture to illustrate it. And so I told them that is what I planned for the day. You know, that was supposed to be our next thing anyway, which, of course, that wasn't actually planned. I just sort of, threw it in for a little bit of filler before our next challenge. So our next challenge came at about 10:45, and the note came sliding under our door, and I made sure that our little blinder thing was down so that whoever came by, they didn't see. So I had that down so they couldn't see anything, and I was waiting near the door because I was worried that if something came sliding through the door, some of the kids would just run to the door to open it up and see who it was. So I was sort of standing near the door to be ready for the arrival of the letter. So the letter came, and it told them that they had to spread kindness throughout the school now, and that they needed to go read to the third grade classes. And it named off certain teachers because only certain teachers had agreed to it. And I have one kid whose mom is actually a third grade teacher, and her name wasn't on the list. And so he got a little bit upset that his mom's name wasn't on the list. But in the letter, it said that these rooms needed Christmas cheer the most. And so I said, well, your mom's room must be really good, and they must, all be ready, for Christmas and everything. But the other rooms need us to spread kindness. So he felt a little bit better about it, I guess, but he was upset at first that his mom was not on the list. Or his third grade teacher wasn't on the list either. His mom actually couldn't do it because she had testing. It wasn't that she didn't want to. It's just that it didn't work into her schedule. So anyway, we went down to the third grade teachers' rooms, and they read to them. And they got some of their coupons through that too. They got them also during the balloon popping. And we were collecting them like in a little box that I had. So they got more there. There was one group, though, where the teacher, I guess, either forgot to give them the coupon, or the person that I gave the coupon to give to the teacher maybe didn't give it to them. But they were actually like one of my best groups as far as like great readers, great students, always good behavior. And they didn't get a coupon, so it was a little bit, I felt a little bit bad, but they didn't make a big deal about it, I just, played it off like, maybe not every teacher was giving a coupon. And I don't think that they knew any different. So anyway, after that we went on to lunch, just a regular kind of day. And then they went to their PE. Their PE teacher gave them a coupon because they acted well there. And then they went to Miss Morris after that. Now, Miss Morris is our computer lab teacher, and I'd given her the last coupon and also the little set of keys. Well, she went ahead and she was a real sport, and she decided to put the keys in her little fridge freezer. So she had the keys in there the whole time. And so whenever she gave the keys to the kids, they were cold too. So that really, I didn't even think about that. I didn't suggest or anything, but she did it all on her own. And so I was really happy about that. So it was time for the party. I had the bag all set up, waiting for the kids to enter the room. The parents were on the other side of the bag, just like I'd hoped. And I went to go get the kids and bring them back. So on the way there, though, they were just so excited about this key. What could it be for? And we were talking about what it could be for. But all the kids could think is that Santa was going to be at their party. So they were all like, it's going to be Santa. Santa's going to be there. And all this stuff. And so I felt a little bit bad that Santa was not there whenever we opened the door. But they were still excited. Most of them were excited just because their parents were in there. And so some of them just like went crazy just because their parents were in there. So it took some of them just a second to realize that there was this package on the floor with another one of those letters. And once they did, though, they just started going crazy. My principals were actually both there, too, to film and watch the whole thing, which I'll have to say at certain points got a little bit embarrassing because they were really going crazy. They were standing on the tables, which the principal told them that they could get up there to see, so I didn't feel very bad about that, but still, like, it was freaking me out because they were up there on the tables, and then there were some on the chairs, and there were some that were ground level, and so it was a little bit crazy. But anyway, I read the letter to them, and it was saying how proud, that he was of them and all this kind of stuff. And that the keys, we noticed that the keys must have went to the bag because the bag was wrapped up and it had 2 bicycle chains around it. So I let the kids take turns opening them up because there was 2 keys in 2 different colors. Like, it took a couple tries to get the right key with the right bicycle lock because there's more than one lock there. So they had a little bit of fun getting into it. But then once it was open, they just were going nuts, like jumping up and down and screaming. And I mean, we were probably definitely the loudest Christmas party down the hallway for sure. Anywho, what we did was the first person got to grab a present out and read who it went to. That person would get the present and come up and pull out the next one. So we did that. So everybody got to stick their hand in the bag and everybody got their present. And they weren't allowed to open it until everybody had it and they were sitting down and they were just really excited. It was just like Christmas morning. I was talking to one of the moms and I said, I don't have kids of my own, so this is sort of like my Christmas morning right here, getting to see the expression on their faces and how happy they are and everything. And a lot of the parents told me afterwards too, that I really let the magic of Christmas still be there for the kids, and they really appreciated that because sadly, 4th grade, it's hit and miss with kids that still believe and don't, I mean, I have, probably about 6 kids that truly believe still, and the rest are either on the fence or don't believe. So I really wanted to promote them believing in it. And one of my kids is related to our vice principal, and all throughout the day he kept asking her, is it real? Is this really happening? So that stocking's for real? So that package was really from the North Pole? And of course she played along and said that it was, and all this kind of stuff. But it just really made me feel good, and the kids were just super excited. And after that we went ahead with our regular Christmas party as far as eating and watching some Christmas movies and all that. And yeah, so it was just a really great day, and it was really worth all the effort put in, and it was just a wonderful day. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. If y'all have any questions, though, let me know and I can tell you more about it, or if you want to know anything more about how certain things actually worked, just let me know and I can answer that for you. But Anyway, I think that that's going to be it for tonight. It's probably sort of a long video, but I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye-bye.